Just like that, while I'm checking my phone for other things, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show this week, and happy Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day, depending on when you are watching this broadcast. Today is Labor Day as we are live. And what a beautiful day for a Labor Day weekend. You know, kind of a last hoorah, I guess you could say, is Labor Day weekend. Everybody tries to get away, maybe camping or away somewhere. Or lots of people down at the beaches here today. And why not? It's like 30 degrees here in Sarnia-Lambton, Ontario. And I say it like that because we're simulcast now in many different parts of the world. We're broadcasting live in Australia, United Kingdom. We're in South Africa, all throughout the United States. And we say thank you to all of our partners who are hosting us for our shows here today. So thanks for that. One in particular, I want to give a special shout out to Stephen Healy, my friend in the United Kingdom, who has the live video hub. And normally today at 12 o'clock noon, him and I do a show together on the Video Show Network. And I couldn't be there today, so he took it on all by himself. So Stephen, if you're watching, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking that on. All right. Well, as I said, happy Labor Day weekend. And of course, with special times comes special parades, I guess you could even say. This is something from previously, but we're just wanting to put up there again and say special thanks to Blue Water Power, who is a supporter of our broadcast today of the 116th, that's right, the 116th annual Labor Day Parade by the Sarnia District and Labor Council. Huge turnout, and why not? Mother Nature was cooperating, right, with the weather. It always helps when Mother Nature, we get along together. That's good, so thanks, Mother Nature. And again, Blue Water Power giving their support, as well as many others giving their support. We wanted to mention our friends Preferred Towing, always showing off their beautiful big trucks, and of course, stars of Heavy Rescue 401. Another season with Preferred Towing coming up, and I'm happy to say my son Jason and I are going to be in one of the episodes, so we're pretty excited about that. So thanks, Preferred Towing, for 27 years now, I think they've been around, and Gary and Tammy and their family, good friends and a fantastic business. So thanks, Preferred Towing. And there's some of the union members out celebrating today. I mean, that's what it's all about. Of course, here in Sarnia, the majority of families, I would say, supported by unions, with our Chemical Valley and all the different trades, skills here. A big significant part of Sarnia-Lambton exists because of our union families. So congratulations to all the laborers and unions. Jason McMichael was leading the way there as he's president of Sarnia District Labor Council. So thanks, Jason, for that. And a lot of people coming out, right? So it's great to see the support of Sarnia coming out and sharing the support, I guess, if you will, for Labor Day. So now, because it's Labor Day, you know what that means? Parents are smiling because children are going back to school tomorrow, right? So some parents would call that a relief, perhaps. It's been I don't know where the summer went. Did you feel like the summer just went like super fast? I thought last summer was fast, but this summer seemed to go extra fast. Certainly lots of things were happening, but again, the kids going back to school tomorrow. So try to mention that because you want to keep your eyes out on the road a little more. I mean, you should always be paying attention, but the little ones don't always pay attention or look both ways before they cross the street because they're excited and running around. So make sure you keep an eye out, especially in school areas for the little ones out there. I don't remember those days. It was a few years ago for me. Mine are going to college tomorrow. So that's exciting too, but they kind of take care of themselves, right? So going to college, my son Jason and Julie going to both head to Lambton College here in Sarnia-Lambton. So, and I've got some other exciting news coming up about Lambton College that I can tell you next week. Tease, right? We know the fall is coming as well because First Friday is happening here in Sarnia, a downtown area of lots of culture and arts and music at First Friday. I know like Coffee Culture downtown always has some musicians playing, and it's really just a nice walkabout. It's more of a social thing as well. I know lots of people get out and meet each other and hang out for a lot of part of the evening as well. But it starts usually around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can get downtown Sarnia and check things out. But then later on, we always like to mention our dear friends Mary Ann and Roland Pelosa from Cheeky Monkey. They've always great supporters of independent music and musicians here in town. I was just in there the other day and dropping off some DVDs, and they have this section of old used records, and I just love going through there. I found me a Neil Diamond record the other day, and one of the classics. Do you remember K-Tel? K-Tel Presents. Yeah, I found me one of those records, and we have 2 record players here in our house. So anyway, El Camino is going to be playing down there as local musicians for Cheeky Monkey as part of the First Friday events. They will go on stage, or in the back part of Cheeky Monkey, large area there. El Camino will be there for 7 o'clock, and they'll play till about 9 o'clock. These guys are a lot of fun. They play a lot of different types of music for us older ones, right? That kind of remember all the good stuff. I call it the good stuff. I don't know. Anything past the 90s for me was like, didn't interest me anymore, but that just shows my age. So El Camino, Cheeky Monkey, and of course First Friday, lots of different activities going to be happening on for that. Art in the Park in Brights Grove is going to be happening this Saturday, September the 8th, and it's part of Rotary here in Sarnia-Lambton. So get out and check that out in Brights Grove. Brights Grove, if you're here in Sarnia, it's only like, I had somebody say, oh, it's all the way out there. It's 5 minutes, and that's doing the speed limit. Come on. And Brights Grove, beautiful beaches and lots of water. We're so fortunate here in Sarnia to be surrounded by so much beautiful water, you know, with St. Clair River and the like, and lots of beautiful beaches. We are ranked in Ontario as some of the top 5 beaches in Ontario, so that tells you something. So Art in the Park, Brights Grove, coming up this Saturday, September the 8th, again, in support of Rotary here in Sarnia-Lambton. I think I'm going to get out to that one, yeah. Do you like jazz? Do you like the blues? Do you just like to have fun? McGibbon Park is having their annual Jazz and Blues in the Village, and Spencer McKenzie is going to kick things off on the Friday evening for that. You know what? I have to say, I've only been able to make it twice to this event, and they've been doing it for several years, and it is a fantastic event, very well organized. For me, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. So Jennifer and I can walk there. And jazz and blues, you can't go wrong there. Tickets available at all Scotiabank locations and lots of different locations around the city as well. That's coming up September 14th and 15th. And you can go and get your tickets for that. There's some information there we'll show you. Once again, Jazz and Blues in the Village and support of SODA here in Sarnia-Lambton, Sarnia Organ Donor Awareness. All right, so looking forward to getting to that. Do you remember this guy? I have a saying sometimes when somebody gets really excited and happy, I say, boy, you'd think you'd given him the golden ticket to the Willy Wonka factory. Who wouldn't want to go to the Willy Wonka factory, right? And this is exciting because so many young people involved in this, and it's also a part of Sarnia-Lambton Rebound, another great local organization supporting youth in our community. And I know a few young folks that are involved in this, and they're super excited to be bringing Willy Wonka Jr. to the Imperial Theater starting on September the 13th. Tickets are only $12 for this. And I can tell you, knowing many of the folks at Rebound and some of the folks performing in this, just how much effort and work and rehearsal and creation goes into putting on a production like this. It doesn't seem fair that it's only $12. So, but it is going to a great supporting cause of Sarnia-Lambton Rebound. So you can get your tickets at Imperial Theater at the box office. They're open daily till 5 o'clock. Or do it the modern way. Just go online to imperialtheater.net to get all your information about different activities as well. The classic album live that they put on down there. Some fantastic things coming to the Imperial Theater as well. I Mother Earth, along with Finger 11, they're going to be coming here. Fantastic. Magic is coming here. Marianas Trench. And I know they've got some more exciting announcements coming up. And they're also preparing for the upcoming season as well. So September 13th to the 15th, only $12, and supporting Sarnia-Lambton Rebound is Willy Wonka Jr. I'm going to that one. I already got my tickets for that one, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Transportation Day. What would Transportation Day be about? Transportation here in our community of Sarnia-Lambton. Part of the Age-Friendly initiative here, one of the elements that Age-Friendly promotes and supports here in Sarnia-Lambton, and that's going to be coming up on September the 22nd. I think some of us maybe take for granted the transportation that we have. Many do rely on not just our bus systems, but like the bicycle lanes we have now, and there's lots of different types of transportation available. And like sometimes some things, you don't really think about it until it happens to you. So it's good to be informed, and this is going to be happening at Lambton Mall on September the 22nd, Transportation Day. Bill Yurchuk, who's from Lambton Elderly Outreach, is going to be joining us, I believe, next week to talk about Transportation Day. So we'll look forward to having Bill here for that. And we want to just throw a mention out there to our friends that we've partnered with, United Way Sarnia-Lambton, who we'll be having here regularly on the show once a month. And Dave Brown was here recently talking to us. And we saw Dave Brown in the parade today. Dave Brown and Rebecca Brander from United Way Sarnia-Lambton were driving a pretty cool car, top down and all. Looked like they were having fun doing that. But at the black and white game, the Sarnia Sting black and white game that supports United Way, Dave Brown announced their fundraising campaign amount, looking to raise $2 million as they did last year. That's their campaign amount again. And interestingly enough, and this is one of the things I love about Sarnia, is the community that comes together in time of need. They were coming up short last year of their goal of $2 million. And then it was put out and announced throughout the media that they were going to come up short. And the community came together that not only hit their goal, but they were $6,000 over their goal. So that's fantastic to see. So United Way Sarnia-Lambton, Dave Brown will be here every month talking about special events that are coming up. I know their Day of Caring is coming up, I believe on September the 11th this week, which is another fantastic thing that they do. They support about 34 different groups here in Sarnia-Lambton, and notably, every penny stays right here in Sarnia. It does not leave. So looking forward to seeing more about what United Way has to do and reaching their $2 million goal. And one of the things you can do if you want to support the United Way Sarnia-Lambton, reach out to them. They have a payroll deduction program. So $2, $5, whatever dollars that you want to come off your paycheck every week can go straight to the United Way Sarnia-Lambton. I think that's a cool way to do it. It's nice and simple, and you don't even notice it. And supporting, again, about 34 different organizations here in Sarnia-Lambton. Do you like coffee? I like coffee. I like different kinds of coffee. And you might find it interesting to know that my next guest is going to talk about coffee and going to talk about Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's affects probably more than you realize, many people. And it has no age requirement, if you will, to have Alzheimer's. Many young people are affected by Alzheimer's. And we're going to bring her online right now. This is Marie. Hello, Marie, Marcy. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm doing well today on this lovely Labor Day.
Isn't it beautiful? Like,
pardon?
Isn't it beautiful? Like, it's a gorgeous day.
It is. It's the best one I can remember in a while, weather-wise.
Yeah, we tend to label Labor Day with rain, don't we?
We do, but we still go out anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks so much for joining me, Marie. I know you're busy, and it's a holiday today, so I appreciate you taking time away from family today to join us for a few moments.
Not a problem.
Tell everybody your title and what you do with Alzheimer's.
I am the fund development. So my role is to look at the fund development calendar and to try to bring in the necessary dollars to run the programs that we're already running and to enhance some of them, and to get the message of that the Alzheimer Society, what we do in the community, out to the community.
You froze up on me. Oh, you're back. Marie, can you do me a favor before we move on? Yeah. Just up in the top there, just click your refresh button and it'll kick you out, and then I'll bring you right back in here just so we can clean things up a bit. Technology. Everybody's on the internet today because they're sitting at home. Well, they should be outside. She's going to be back here joining us in just a moment. Marie from the Alzheimer Society. They've got a special fundraiser campaign coming up, a coffee break coffee break. And she's going to be talking about that. And they have a lot of different programs here in Sarnia-Lambton, not just to support those with Alzheimer's, but to support those who deal with those who have Alzheimer's. So hopefully she'll be back here in just a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to say hello. Who we got out there? Oh, hey, Dom. How you doing, buddy? If you're still watching, appreciate that. Sean's out there giving us a thumbs up today as well. Appreciate you stopping by, guys. And as soon as we get Marie back here, we'll bring her online. Oh, there she's popping up here in just a moment. Bear with us. There she is. We'll try this again. There we go. That's all we needed. Sometimes all you need is a refresh.
There you go.
So yes, you do a lot of the project planning and fundraising for the Alzheimer Society.
I do. My primary role in that, but they didn't have anybody in this role before. I'm the first. So for now, I'm enhancing existing fund development programs that they have and trying to grow them as well.
Yeah. I talked to a lot of organizations here in Sarnia, and it's an ongoing challenge, I guess. Everybody needs money. It doesn't grow on trees, and it's kind of like oxygen. You need it to live. You find that though that Sarnia is a pretty generous community.
Sarnia is an exceptionally generous community. I was with the Inn of the Good Shepherd for 13 years. Whenever we made a plea to the community, this community seems to rally around charities, no matter what charity it is, to help out. So I can unequivocally say that we are a very generous community. Yeah.
While we're refreshing there, I was just sharing with our viewers that, the programs are not just for those with Alzheimer's, but a big part of it as well is supporting those who deal with those with Alzheimer's, right?
Exactly. We have support groups for care providers, caregivers, care partners, whichever term you'd like to choose to call them. So we have support groups for them. We also have our Minds in Motion program. 45 to 60 minutes of physical activity, 45 to 60 minutes of mental stimulation kinds of activities. And then there's healthy refreshments after. So that's a program that care partners can attend with the person that is living with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
We also have support groups for family members, children of people that have Alzheimer's, both adult and younger children, because with people being diagnosed earlier, we're finding that we're having clients that have kids in their 20s that are university age that are having to deal with a parent with Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah, and it's not an easy disease to deal with. My father, as you know, has Alzheimer's, and his wife takes care of him daily. Fortunately, that she's able to do that. But it's a real big adjustment from when this person had this personality, and now sometimes that personality is significantly different. Sometimes the filters are gone, and it can be stressful for that person that's there on a daily basis. It's good to see that these kind of things, I guess is what I'm saying, that support out there. But I sort of said something earlier too about it's something that you don't really think about how to deal with it until it happens to you, right?
Exactly. You get a diagnosis and people, they're scared, they're frightened. We are trying to do some different things for the care partners in particular. Coming up on September the 14th, we've partnered with Wellings, the new adult lifestyle community out in Corunna.
Oh yeah.
And we're hosting a care partner spa day. So this is for people that they get to pick spa activities. We have volunteers from the community coming out to do massage therapy, manis, pedis, meditation, Reiki.
Can I go?
You can. You can be my special guest.
Okay.
And I should say that Wellings has been very generous. They're also providing a gourmet meal for everybody at the end of their spa day. They brought in a comedian to lighten up the mood a little bit. So I think it's going to be a fun day.
Oh, nice. Do you any idea who the comedian is?
I don't know. It's a female, and her story kind of fits with Alzheimer's because she was a care partner for somebody living with Lou Gehrig's.
Okay.
So there's similar instances where your life has been kind of taken over, and this individual kind of approached it with keeping her sense of humor about it all, which is what you have to do.
Well, Yes, I can attest to that one for sure.
It's not always easy, is it, Dave?
No, and like I say, I'm not with my father on a daily basis, but when I do see him, it's I feel for my stepmother who looks after him, and I'm grateful that she is able to do that, because not everybody's in that position as well. I mean, is there support for those that like some people don't have anybody around?
Yes. Well, what we would do then is whoever there has to be somebody, if it maybe not if they're in the later stages, obviously, but if they're in the early stages, friends can come and get support because they might be dealing with them on a day-to-day basis. That is one of the problems we find, is that when it gets to a certain point, often their support group, as far as so that's why we
might have lost her again. The internet's a wonderful thing when it works. All right. Stand by, everybody. I'm going to refresh this time. Marie, if you can help me. Are you there? Are you back? Okay. I'm going to refresh at my end this time. So, ladies, you might have to come back in. Stand by, everybody. All right, there we go. Marie, can you hear me? Hello, hello? Marie, are you there? Hello, Marie?
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
We seem to be having some technical difficulty.
I don't know if it's you or me, but it's one thing about live. We just keep going.
We do. We just pick it up and go.
There you go. No, so yeah, you were saying that can be a struggle sometimes for those that maybe don't have somebody around, and that comes up more often, does it?
I missed what you just said. You kind of froze there for a minute.
Okay. No, I was saying we were talking about those that maybe don't have somebody here.
Right. A spouse or a child or an adult child that comes to our support groups. It could be a friend that's concerned that they could provide the support that the person needs.
Right.
On their own, so they might have to choose a living situation where the supports were around them.
Okay. All right.
So it might be that their meals are provided, something like, some of the homes like Wellings, they get one meal a day. It's a perfect place for my mother. She doesn't have dementia, but she, needs some extra help because she's getting up in age. So they might have to look at alternative living arrangements like that.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, we've got just a couple minutes left here. We want to talk about the upcoming event, your coffee break event, Make Your Coffee Count, right?
It's starting, actually. We're kicking off on First Friday at Bad Dog in Sarnia.
Yeah.
And Jason Winter has just been phenomenal with us. He lived a journey with a parent with Alzheimer's, and he's trying to do everything he can to support the Alzheimer Society of Sarnia. So him and his servers at both restaurants, both in Sarnia and Corunna, will be asking people to add a toonie to their bill through the entire month of September, starting on September the 7th. He's also going to be creating some kind of a cocktail.
Yes.
Not sure what it will be, but some of the proceeds from that will also go to the Alzheimer Society. And the Bad Dog is just one of the locations. We have all the independent grocers, Petrolia, Corunna, Brights Grove, Wyoming, they're all participating. So I know people get tired of people asking them for a toonie, but they have to realize there are 3,000 people living in Sarnia-Lambton over the age of 65 with Alzheimer's and dementia. That's just the people that are diagnosed. There are people that have early onset that money that we raise will go to enhance programs that already exist. And we're looking at creating a few more, like a day drop-in program.
Okay.
So that serves both the person living with dementia as well as the caregivers, because they can drop the person off, know they're well taken care of, having activities that stimulate them mentally, they're being fed, and they can go out and go to their doctor's appointments and go to their hair appointments and things that they tend to neglect because they don't have anybody to take care of.
We all take for granted, honestly, right? We take these things for granted.
We take running to the store for granted, but when you have somebody that is in your care that has this set of diseases, it's not always easy as just running to the store. That's
right. So this first Friday, September the 7th, starts at what, 12 o'clock?
It's starting at 12, yeah. And we'll have the Fox on remote from Bad Dog that day. And then the next big day, World Alzheimer Day, is the 21st. Yep. And we have all of the other places, Canadian Tire, your independent grocer in Petrolia, Superstore has been phenomenal. They are hosting a barbecue from 10 until 6. You get a PC smoky, a drink, and a bag of chips.
Oh, wow.
And it's a donation. They're just asking for a straight donation. They're also hourly draws. They're giving $25 gift cards. So that would be a good day to come out and show your support by attending the barbecue. Canadian Tire is also hosting a coffee break. They're doing hourly draws as well. Brights Grove Foodland, Wyoming Foodland, Northgate Pharmacy, and all of the coffee lodges and John's Restaurant. And if you have any travel needs, CAA, my good friend Janet Holmes down there, is having a coffee break there, and she's going to be doing a lot of things for us too. So we've got a lot of support, a lot of people on board, a lot of business owners, and generously when people ask for that, Toonie.
That's fantastic. Well, there's the support we talked about here in Sarnia-Lambton, right? And I know I'm going to join you down there at Bad Dog. We got to talk about what time we got to figure out what time you want me down there. We're going to be doing some live promotion down there as well. And we'll be joining you, I think, at the Superstore on the 21st as well for that.
Yes, I'm excited. You can buy me one of those drinks, whatever they're going to be called.
Well, it's funny, because I know Jason quite well, and I do stop at the Bad Dog once in a while, and I know the girls that work there are having fun creating it.
Awesome.
So,
well, I'm also going to be doing.
Almost there.
That has just come on our board, so that's exciting.
All right, you that piece cut out there for a minute, so we didn't quite get that. Try it one more time.
I was saying that I will be presenting Jason with a little award on behalf of his dad, because he does. And I also said that his brother Michael, who's returning to this area to live, is coming onto our board. So we've got fantastic. Good support from the Winter family.
Yeah, they're a fantastic family, and I do know about Jason's journey, so it's great to see him giving the support back as well. Marie, thank you so much. Sorry we had some technical difficulties, but we did great at just keep moving forward, and looking forward at
working. We did. We never just don't drop the ball. Just keep going.
That's right. If you miss a key on the piano, just keep playing, right? Marie, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. I'll be. You're welcome, and I'll be talking to you this week so we can figure out all the details when you need me around. All right, very good. Marie from the Alzheimer Society. She's got a lot of energy she's bringing to Alzheimer the society. So I know you try to make things fun. When you ask people for money, like she said, nobody always likes being asked for that tuning, but people have to understand its importance, right? And it does affect a lot of people here. All over, but there's a lot of people affected here in Sarnia-Lambton. So thanks to Marie again for joining us here. And you can get down to the Bad Dog, right? I mean, the Bad Dog's a wonderful place anyway, so why not go there this Friday as part of First Friday, of course, as we were talking about, and support the Alzheimer Society. Thanks again, Marie, for joining us. All right, my next guest who's going to be joining us now is somebody I've been trying to connect with actually for quite some time, and we both got busy schedules. And today we've got her here. Her name is Cheryl Piper. We're going to bring her on right now. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for bringing me to your show. I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, like I said, we've sort of tried to connect a couple of times, but you're busy, I'm busy, and here we are finally today. And we haven't really, I don't think, really met on, we say meet, like online, a lot of us meet, but this is probably our first real live connection, I think, isn't it?
I think it is. It's our first conversation. We've, definitely been on different shows where we've been commenting together and all of
Yeah.
that, but this is our first talk. But I feel like I must have talked to you before, but you're right. This is our first talk.
It's funny, right? This live streaming world. And yes, we host you on the Video Show Network, and I watch a lot of your shows, and as much as I can. You're
Thank
one of
you.
the 25 that we host on the Video Show Network. Um, Tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You're a transformation and relationship coach. Did I say that right?
Yes, I mean that's really kind of how I pull it all into a nutshell. I have lots of different degrees and certifications, and I really pull it together as a relationship coach because whether that relationship is with you in business or with you in your personal life or with you and you,
Yeah.
it's all about relationships. And so many times, people will come to me talking about business. They'll have challenges with business and they want to work in that area. And after we get talking, we quickly see that the relationship is you and you. It comes back to that relationship that you have with yourself and getting that moving in the right direction before anything else can really fall into place.
Yeah. It's, I want to just point out there as we get on the internet, we see a lot of people doing a lot of things. We see a lot of coaches, and we see a lot of people of what you do. I guess the question I would come to is kind of two parts. Well, I'll just say I notice about you, you're very soothing to talk to. You're very soothing to listen to.
Thank you.
Have you been given that compliment before?
You know what? I have. And on Friday, I'm sure if you've watched my Friday show, that is my meditation day where
Yeah.
because I have a theme, I pick a theme for the week each week. And then Mondays, I kind of unpack that and I talk. Wednesdays, I have a interview with someone and we kind of fall into that same theme. And then Friday, I write a meditation around that theme so that people can let go of their stress for the week and move into the weekend. And I've actually had people say, sometimes I don't even hear your words in your meditation. The tone of your voice just puts me in that meditative state. So yes, and that's a big compliment. People have said that to me.
Well, there you go. It can be challenging, I'm sure, what you do, because you're dealing with so many different types of personalities. I mean, we talk about the four basic personalities, but each one of those basic personalities, there's a lot more going on. What's your background in all of this? Like, where did you just decide to train yourself, or where did this all come from for you, and how'd you get started?
Well, I've been studying in this area. I would say when I was living in Salt Lake City, I'm now on the East Coast, just north of Washington, D.C. But I spent 15 years in Salt Lake City, and that's probably where this whole path started for me in studying and really understanding who I am, and then understanding through that study that because I have a teaching background, so
Okay.
it's just natural for me to move into that space. And, I have a degree in metaphysical science. I have a master's in that. My thesis was the power of perception because, perception does create reality. And so that's really, it's a spiritual director type position, but, I wrap it all into relationship coach because it really does come down to that relationship we have with ourselves. And if we're just dragging around baggage from years and years and years ago and dragging it around, that's what's creating our future. We're actually creating our future with all of that past baggage that we haven't let go of. And so therefore, until we can let the go of that, sit it down, move into a true forgiveness of all of it, and just let it go.
Yeah. Well, and it would seem so simple, right? let it go, right? Just let it go. Hakuna Matata, all that stuff, right? And would you say that, we blame people, we blame anybody but ourselves.
Yes.
Accountability is in there for sure. And I think, this is my opinion, but accountability even more than responsibility. But anger and resentment, is that the two things that really makes it hard for us to let go?
Well, and realizing, I would say yes, and I'm going to put another area to that, but it's realizing that we have a choice.
Yeah.
And it comes down to that responsibility, that accountability, because so many times people move into reactions of things, not really realizing they have a choice. But when we realize that we have a choice to be resentful, to be angry, then that really starts to shift your perception. That starts to shift how you think about the way things are unfolding in your life and in your world. And that bringing that responsibility back, because it's one of the things that I talk about. If you watch the little whiteboard video that's on my website, it talks about, if I can just read that off. I don't need to read it off. I know what it is.
Go ahead. We got time here.
It's just kind of my thing. And when people say, what do you do? I say, well, men and women that are challenged by divorce, job loss, and heartbreak hire me to help them uncover sabotaging behaviors that are really blocking them from their success. And this next one is the big part, is because most overlook ego, victimhood, and forgiveness. Most people overlook those three things. And it's like you were saying, they're looking all around outside and seeing, is someone's doing something to me, something's happened, something from outside is doing something to me, versus that thought process of realizing we have a choice and I choose. And I'm not saying I don't ever get mad, but when I do, I'm taking responsibility for it. It's like, sometimes I'll call up my best friend Trudy and I'll say, now I know this is my ego, but blah, 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 blah. And then
but I'm going to anyway.
Yeah. And then I let it go. I just needed something. Sometimes you just need to vocalize things and get them out to someone that you trust. And there's something else, if I could say this, and this is a key for me, is with some of the friends that I have that are really, I depend on this from my really close friends. I'll say, now you can listen to me whine about this 3 times. That's it. On that 4th time, you got to love me enough to say, nope, walk away. No, you need to move forward because you've turned this into something else. And I give my friends that permission, because sometimes when we're in the thick of something, we don't realize we've already talked about it 3 times. We don't realize we're telling the same story over and over. And that story can turn into victimhood.
Guilty.
Hey, this is the process. These are the learning lessons that we all move through. And if we can choose to look at them as learning lessons, it's a whole different thought process.
I wish my children were watching right now because I've said so. Well, what I'm getting at is a couple of things that you said in there that really stand out for me personally is choices. I've always preached that one. And, it's hard to preach that sometimes because I don't always make the right choices, but you still have to preach it to your children, right? Because we know it's right. And ego. The choices is an obvious discussion. I think, choices, was that a good choice or was that a bad choice? Well, it was a good choice. And sometimes even when we make good choices, bad things still happen. The difference there, then, I say, is how we handle that. Yes. But the ego part of it, this really intrigues me because it's almost a dirty word sometimes, that ego. We say, oh, he's got a really big ego. I have an ego. I'm a talk show host. I'm an entertainer. Of course I have an ego. Sometimes good, sometimes bad ego. But I think the ego that what I'm picking up you're talking about is that ego of this doesn't happen to me, or I am handling this when I'm really not, or I'm dealing with this the right way when I'm really not. And I'm talking to myself and I'm convincing myself that everything is okay when it's not. Is that the ego you're talking about?
Well, I mean, yes, that can be part of it. I look at the ego, and when I talk about this, is the ego loves to find problems. The ego loves to to surround us with problems for us to solve and keep us busy in that way, like just stirring around in the muck, I call it. Just that negative space, that negative energy, that negative thought process.
Yeah.
And when it keeps us there, because the ego wants to want. The ego doesn't want anything other than wants to want.
Right.
Because as soon as we get whatever it is we think we want, the ego will turn around and want something else. And so it keeps us in a story. It keeps us in that negative space. It keeps us in that negative thought pattern, because I talk a lot about neuroscience too with what I do, because we as human beings, we have 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. 90% the same thoughts as the day before. And so therefore, are we creating our future from our present moment and what we've learned, or are we creating our future from the past and just being repetitive in those thoughts of so-and-so is always nasty, and they're always mean to me, and they're looking for something, and they're going to find it, and I didn't do anything to them. And, I use are you familiar with Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, his book, The Power of Now?
The name, no, the author, but the title, yes.
Yes, and he has a story that he talks about in there, and it's talking about how he's talking about ducks on a pond, okay? And how when two male ducks meet on a pond, and they're going to fight, their feathers all fluff up and their chests all puff out, and they're going to fight with each other until one of them backs down, okay? And then as they swim away, they stop and they flap their wings and they shake, because what they're doing is they're releasing energy. They're releasing all that stress that they built up for that fight. They're not holding it in them. They're not letting it create something else. Right. And then he tells this story about how, now, if these were human, if these ducks thought like humans, it would be, well, that Sam duck, he is always trying to boss me around on this pond. I didn't do anything to him, and I was just swimming along, doing nothing, and he came up and started arguing with me. And he does that all the time, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. You see the difference?
Yeah.
It's a story.
I choose screaming into a pillow sometimes.
Well, it's when we wrap stories around things, when we wrap stories around those negative things that happen to us, rather than saying, well, now that was an interesting lesson. Okay, now this is what I learned from that happening.
Yeah.
It's just a different thought process. Because when we wrap a story around it, that's the ego. And the ego's keeping a story going, and it's keeping us stirring around in the muck of it and keeping us in that negative space.
There's a song, Cheryl, and I do have to wrap up with you here. Boy, that 15 minutes flew by. But I can't remember the name of the song, but in there it says, that guy named Ego, I killed him a long time because he never did anything for me anyway.
I love that.
It was a jazz or blues song or something. Yes, my next guest might know.
Unwinding of it. I love it. That unwinding of it, because that's not who we really are.
Yeah.
That's not who we really are.
Cheryl, we're going to have to reconnect, and I'm going to have to give you like a full hour, because at which I would welcome to do that, because I think you're fantastic.
Thank you.
And listening to you is, I didn't have to do a lot in this interview.
Well, I love to talk and I love to share. And really quickly before I need to go, is I'd love for you to share with Maria, who was just on. Okay. I would love for you. She mentioned something about with the Alzheimer's care, the caregivers. Yep. That they had something going on there. If you could really just connect with her from my business Facebook page, because I do those meditations every Friday, and people could just tune into that whenever they wanted to and do a quick 10-minute meditation.
Fantastic. I will I will connect you guys on Facebook and together in a group or something, and you guys can take it from there. How about that?
Thank you.
All right, Cheryl. Such a pleasure to meet you. You're very soothing and fun, and I just can't wait till the next time we talk again.
Thanks so much, David. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
Cheryl Piper-Snyder. Make sure you check her out on Facebook. Wow, it was just such an enjoyable conversation. And I can't wait to reconnect with her again. I can see us doing some more things in the future. And there's one of the great things about the show that I love. We're networking here and we're connecting people, and we're going to connect Cheryl and Marie together. And there's, I just love the live because, you know, we started the show 7 years ago. We're now live. We're broadcasting all over the world. We're in Australia, United Kingdom, South Africa, all throughout the United States. And I've met so many fantastic people. And part of the mission of the show is to connect our communities together because there's so much we can learn from each other. Yeah, I get pretty excited about every Monday. Most people don't get excited about Monday. Most people go, Monday. Me, I'm up. I'm like, yay, it's Monday. What's going to happen on the show today? And I'm really excited about this next guest because he is so awesome as well. And I met him years ago. He was one of my first interviews when I started the show. Chris Molyneaux, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. One of the things I always remember about you, and I'm sure you'll remember this post that you put out a long time ago. You had this big smile on your face.
That's right, I did.
Well, and you just like, everybody needs to get one of these.
That's true, I did do that, yeah.
Chris, you're I labeled you a long time ago as the saxophone sensation.
Yeah.
I think it was probably about 6 years ago, maybe even close to 7, that I came out to your home in Brights Grove and we did an interview.
Yep, that's right. And we're broadcasting from that very same room today. So like it's got also my past projects back up there on the wall. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. You know, like I remember when we first talked and you were talking about, well, I'm going to do this thing. And, you know, I talk to a lot of people and sometimes I hear people say, I'm going to do this thing. And I go, yeah, okay, good luck with that. But when you said it to me, you said it with conviction. And I knew that we would be back here someday to talk about your successes. You've really followed your passion and your dreams.
Yeah, you could totally say that I did. I think like since that first interview, like I've been to college. I have my bachelor's degree in music, and yeah, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of other projects at the theater. I've got stuff going with Little Chicago. I've got stuff going with my jazz trio. I'm teaching too. I've got private lessons, and I'm going to be starting. Directing the Lake Road Lions senior band in a couple of weeks. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's true.
That's awesome. High five.
High five.
Congratulations. That's you know, you've worked really hard. I mean, your personality comes along through with it. I mean, you're a very caring person. You're fun. And you just kind of just go out there and do your thing, you know. And for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking with Chris Molyneaux, or I like to call him the saxophone sensation. He's very, very talented.
You're far too kind calling me that. Like there's so many other saxophone players that could just blow me out of the water at this point, but I'm still trying to get there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're all good at something, but you're great at what you do.
Thank you very much.
Creating. I mean, you've been involved with many different people, you know, like the rock and roll Christmas concert every year with Dave Chalk and his crew. Yep. What got you started in all this? What age did you pick up a musical instrument?
When I first picked up the piano, like I had been, I fooled around with it when I was a kid, like any kid does. But I got serious about it at 9 years old, and then when I got into high school, that's when I picked up the saxophone. I had an interest in picking up the saxophone earlier, but one of the music teachers at St. Clair actually said to my parents, like, no, wait till he gets to high school because like his lungs will be fully developed by then. So that's why I didn't start doing that until like much later. I think I was like 13.
That never would have crossed my mind. I would have said, no, pick it up now and go for it. But I guess that makes sense.
I wanted to, but that's what the teacher said. It's like you have to wait for your lungs to develop, then you can pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people who adore you, and you've got a lot of great people around you. And I know you and I have talked many times before, and we've always agreed that surrounding yourself with the right people really makes things work. But your family's a huge support to you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so lucky to have my family. Like to be able to like they've thrown all their support into like every project I've done. They do like when I told them like years ago that I wanted to be like I wanted to take this professionally, that they knew that there was going to be challenges. They knew there were going to be times where that there were going to be times that that things would get hard and that I wouldn't be able to do as much as I want to do. But they've always thrown my full support into like everything they've done, and I'm really blessed for that. Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment because you know, I think you make a good point in there. I mean, you're a musician. You know, it's like a child goes to their mom or dad and says, "I want to be a professional baseball player, or professional. I want to be a rock star, or whatever that professional thing is." If I came to you and said, "I want to be a professional process operator," you go, "Oh yeah, okay, no problem. You can do that." But if if I come to you and say, "I want to be a professional musician," I think most parents would say, "Well, yeah, okay, but." Right. So, because there are going to be those challenges. So how do you get through that?
How do I get through that? Well, you got to put your foot down and you got to market yourself as like, here's what I do. And here's the level of, and here's the level that I'm at. Like you were talking about ego earlier with your last guest.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to have that positive ego in the senses. It's like, here's what I play, here's how well I can play it, and like here's my worth. You have to know your worth before you jump into a field of work like that, because if you don't know your worth, you end up taking a lot of low quality, like low paid stuff that's even though you may be well past that, like years down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about that with musicians? I mean, I know that's a regular conversation around Sarnia that you and I have both probably been involved with, where you know, musicians are undervalued or they're not paid enough. Whose fault is that?
You know, it's tough to put the blame on one side entirely.
Yeah.
The venues definitely like the venues who book these musicians do have to understand that we spend a lot of time and we spend a lot of money getting together all the equipment that we have to haul in for a gig every night. Like those big speakers, amps, like mixer boards, whatever. They're not cheap.
They cost money.
They cost a lot of money. Yeah. And like I hear guitar players say like, "Oh, like $4,000, way too much." I'm like, $4,000 is like an average like professional saxophone. So like that's a whole different stratosphere altogether. Yeah.
So have you because sometimes I've said, well, you know, the musician can say no to the gig. Like you don't have to take it. And I get that we got to eat and stuff like that. But I've always said, well, like work full-time at your job and part-time at your profession until it becomes a full-time profession, right? Is that kind of what you had to do? Did you have to work at different places or did you just do music?
Well, because I spent like the last 5 years in school, like there wasn't much time for me to be doing like a full-time job on the side until now that I've graduated. Now that I've graduated, like I've got like my full-time spot over at like my mom's business, DeSantis Hardware, and that'll keep going until eventually we sell it. But until I was out of school, like working full-time wasn't that much of an option for me because by the time I was out of school for the summer, that's when all the gigs started rolling in and saying like, hey, you got to do this, and the next week it's this, and the next week it's that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever said no to a gig because you just felt, you know what, I'm worth more than what they want to give me?
Yep. And I think any musician will tell you that there are gigs that they've had to say no to because either it conflicts with something else, or the venue just doesn't straight up pay you enough. Like
Yeah.
I know that's like that sounds greedy of me to say.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's greedy at all. I think it's you set your value for yourself.
But when you've got those venues saying like, oh, we're going to give you like tons of exposure, I'm like, exposure doesn't pay for the food that I put on my plate every day. Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Well, good for you for knowing how to say no. You have a lot of fun, though. I know you're out in the community. We run into each other often at a lot of the same events, and you've become quite well known, at least in this area. But you've had the privilege of playing with some pretty cool folks, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Is there any in particular that you thought was kind of like a pretty big deal?
Man, there's been a whole bunch. Like I've been in bands who have opened up for Helix, for the Trues and Red Wanting Blue. I've done I did a Christmas show one time with Jody Rafool, and that also involved Jeff Burrows of Tea Party and Kelly Hoping of Big Sugar. So
yeah, that's kind of where I was going. And what about and Jeff Burrows, no relation, by the way. I get asked that all the time. I've been asked, are you the guy in the Tea Party? I'm like, yeah, no. What about Mike Stevens? You've had a lot of fun playing with him.
Yeah, I actually went to school with his son. That's how I know him, originally. So
okay.
Yeah, and he's called me up to do some things before, and I think the most fun we had was we did a Canada Day show in Bryce Grove. He invited me up on the stage, and we just jammed. Like,
I heard about that. Your dad Tim was he told me, he's like, oh man, you won't believe, and he's like, you should have seen Chris. They were just giving her, and just there.
Yeah.
Just kind of rolled right into it together. That's exciting because these are some big names, and like not everybody gets these opportunities. So I mean, I know you're a very grateful person. You feel blessed with many things, but we're blessed to be able to listen to you. When I hear you, I just stop and I just go, all right, here we go. What's he gonna throw at us here? He's got something worked up in that mind of his. He's gonna give us a performance out there. What's so you're teaching? Where do you teach?
I teach privately. Like I teach in my own home, like piano and different woodwinds, like saxophone, clarinet, and flute. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to be the new senior band director for the Lake Road Lions Band at Lake Road Public School.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and I know a lot of people who've had connections with them and with Van Goosen Music. So that's a huge honor for them to come up and say like, hey, would you do this for us?
Oh, that's fantastic. So obviously that's something new, but beyond that, what's next for Chris Molyneaux?
What is next for me? I'm going to be recording pretty soon with the Chris Molyneaux Jazz Trio. Like I've got two of my friends from Toronto to come down and record with Mike Mackay's, right? He's got his own studio.
Mike's awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to be recording at his studio. That's gonna be like right after we do a show. We're going to be doing another show at the Refined Fool on Sunday the 16th.
Oh, okay, fantastic. At the London Road location?
The London Road one, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Midtown. Yeah.
I've just been given another excuse to go to the Refined Fool.
There you go. Yeah.
You already have some music out, right? You're on Spotify.
Spotify, yep.
And what's that called?
It's called. If you search "The Corridor" by Chris Molyneaux, you'll find it. It was a 3-track EP I recorded for my 4th year project at Humber College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Some other any other projects coming up, like the theater or anything else around town that you can tell us about, or is everything top secret?
With Little Chicago, we're going to be at the London Music Club at September 15th. That is like old school blues R&B, and it's always a blast playing with Rob Sharp and those guys. Like I love playing with those guys. So London Music Club, September 15th. Theater stuff. Legally Blonde the musical. I'm going to be in the pit orchestra for that, playing keys.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that runs. Yeah. So that runs from the 21st to the 29th.
Okay.
At the Imperial Theater. So
All right.
like,
We'll keep
so
an eye out
those
for you.
So for those who are interested, mark it down on your calendars now. So
For sure. Well, I thought I was a busy guy. Boy, talking to you, I'm like, whoo, I got to get moving a little more. You're a busy guy. That's fantastic.
yeah, it's like I've got the music right here, and it's like it's you think it's not easy stuff. Like Legal Squad, like I underestimated the music in that. It's not easy. Yeah.
Well, you're up for the challenge. That's good, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll pull it off and be successful.
All right.
Chris, thank you so much. I look forward to the next time we bump into each other in person.
Yeah.
And I've just been enjoying your stories here. And I do follow you quietly. I watch. I keep an eye on you. So
Good.
I love our relationship that we started, about 6 years ago. And here we are today talking about your successes. So give the best to Mom and Dad and the rest of the family for me too.
I will do.
All right, Chris Molyneaux, thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
Take care.
Chris Molyneaux, the saxophone sensation, I call him. A fantastic young man. And he's just got so much life, so much positive energy. If you've never seen him perform, check him out on Facebook, Chris Molyneaux Music, and make sure you check out his music on Spotify. Just search for Chris Molyneaux and you'll find him. Wow, what a fantastic day. And so many people joining us here today. Stephanie Purdy said hello out there, and Marcia was out there, and Lois and Sean and Don. It's just wonderful when people connect. So if you're still watching and you've enjoyed the show, in the comments below, please give us a 10 so that we know you were watching live and you enjoyed the show. If you didn't like the show, please don't do anything. Send me a message. Tell me why not. Sean, don't you do it. If you're watching the replay, as many people do, please type replay so we know that you watched that as well. Here every Monday at 3:30 in the afternoon. And if you can't watch it live, that's okay. The reason we do it like that is because we're simulcast in many parts of the world. We're live right now in Australia. We're live in the United Kingdom. We're all throughout the United States, South Africa, Nigeria, and Ireland too, I believe. Wow. So awesome. Thanks to all my guests for joining me. Marie from Alzheimer Society, talking about the upcoming coffee break that's going to be happening, starting off at the Bad Dog here in Sarnia, part of First Friday, to support the Alzheimer Society. And then again on September 21st at World Alzheimer's Day. We'll be talking more about that coming up through the week. And I'll be live at those locations. So if you're going to get out for First Friday and have, a bevy or something to eat, start at the Bad Dog there and give your support to the Alzheimer Society. And then, of course, my friend Cheryl. I'm so happy that Cheryl Piper was able to join us. She is a transformational and relationship coach and such a joy to talk to and listen to, quite honestly. So thank you, Cheryl. Make sure you check her out on Facebook as well. And then, of course, finally, once again, my friend, the saxophone sensation, Chris Molyneaux. Check him out online. Wow, that hour just flies by. We're over an hour. We could probably keep going, but we're not going to because I'm going to enjoy the rest of the holiday. Don't forget, the kids are back in school tomorrow, so keep those eyes open because the little ones, they don't always look both ways before they cross the street. All right. Thanks, everybody. Happy Labor Day and happy Labor Day weekend. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend, and I will see you on the show live next time. Bye for now.